All praises to Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. And this is going to be a video on how you Israelite women are getting ready to experience a narcissistic collapse, right? You Israelite women are getting ready to experience a narcissistic collapse, man. And I'm going to, in this lesson, go into this, and I'm using a earthly term in order to try and help get the point across that a lot of you Israelite women project what you are onto the Israelite man, and you claim that the Israelite men are narcissists, but actually, in fact, the majority of you Israelite women are, and all of the wicked ones of you are getting ready to experience a narcissistic collapse when this society crashes, right? And I'm going to go into what that is, because I came across this term within the recent days and weeks, man, and I'm gonna go into it, and it perfectly matches the great humbling that is prophesied for the women of the children of Israel, the women of the nation of Israel, the daughters of Zion, to receive and to experience in prophecy, right? It says a narcissistic collapse is a psychological crisis that occurs when a person with narcissistic personality disorder, which is what most of you Israelite women have, and when you look up what a narcissist is, it's ultimately, and you can look it up for yourself to get the true, complete definition. I'm not going to do that part in this video, but it's ultimately somebody that's got a high inflated sense of what they are worth, right? And one of the catchphrases of the Israelite woman is that they know their worth, they're the prize, they're a queen. They literally claim that they're a queen. They don't have no throne, right? They don't even have the ability to grow their own hair the length that they want to have it, right? But yet they're a queen, yet they're a 10 out of 10, yet they even go beyond the scale when rating themselves in attractiveness sometimes. They'll say I'm 1,000 out of 10, when 10 would be perfection, but they'll try and add 100 and 990 on top of that, right? That's what a narcissist would do, right? And then these women are barely a 5 some of the time that say such things, right? They got a high sense of self, right? Without having any of the actual skills to match these things. A narcissistic collapse is a psychological crisis that occurs when a person with, I'm back at the top again, a narcissistic collapse, and let me go read it again. A narcissistic collapse is a psychological crisis that occurs when a person with narcissistic personality disorder, NPD for short, faces a severe threat to their carefully constructed ego and inflated self-image, right? Now, that's what women do. Through social media, they've been able to do it even more, man. And one of the elders that does some very good videos that I watch, right? He was going into how he was like said something along the lines of the Wada Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. And I could almost tell what he was gonna say before he even finished saying it. But he was like the Wada Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai for making these women for making the internet, because it's allowed these women to expose themselves even further, right? And that's how I feel about the internet, man. It's gave literally a trackable record of how dysfunctional these women are. And you've got this one woman out there, queen of accountability, that she points out the hypocrisy of these women on several occasions just by searching a few buzzwords. A woman might try and disrespect some man about something, or talk bad about some category, call some man broke or something like that. And she'll get on there and put a few buzzwords in that person's search engine to look at past posts and expose that the person's a hypocrite, man, right? And that's been allowed to happen because these women have put a online record of themselves that's traceable, right? But that's what a narcissist would do, and it's a carefully constructed ego that's made to try and paint them in the best light. These women take certain pictures with plenty of filters on them to the point where you could look at a woman's picture online and be like, damn, that woman's fine as hell. And that woman could be standing right next to you in real life and you wouldn't even know. Now, how can that happen? Because the woman does not look like what her picture looks like online. They've perfected angles to make the glutes and the ting look round. They've perfected angles to make the stomach look flat. They've perfected darkening and shading and different lightings to make their skin tone look a certain way and make their face look flawless. They've perfected makeup to try and make themselves look a certain way. It's a carefully constructed ego and self-inflated image, right? Now, if you're picking up what I'm putting out there, good. If not, well, hey, there's nothing I can do about that. But as you can see, this is a thing that women, the Israelite woman, is going to experience. Now, this is the earthly term, right? The spiritual way to say it is Isaiah 32, right? Isaiah 3, 16 to verse 24. The great humbling that's coming, man, right? The women shall mourn having no husbands. The men shall mourn having no helpers, right? Let's carry on reading. It says, this happens when their usual defense mechanisms, which protect them from feelings of shame and worthlessness, fail. Right now, let's go into the scriptures. Since I read that, let me go into the scripture. Right, so we're going to go into the scriptures, and it said that their usual defense mechanisms are going to fail. Now, some of the usual defense mechanisms, and before I go to that, let me go to this. Right, let's go to First Ezra, the 4th chapter, because many men in this world have run out of their wits for women because they've got all these defense mechanisms, and some of the defense mechanisms that these women have are other men, right? Simps on their that meet them in the street and lust after them and only want to clap their cheeks, but the woman don't care. That's a defense mechanism in her mind, because that's a man that she's going to try and make run through the ringer before he gets any of it from her, or he might never get none. Men that are online that are lusting after them through the comment board and all this, right? They've got the government programs, which that's being attacked now, right? Makeup, right? Their friendship group, the sisterhood, the so-called sisterhood, the police, right? All of these things are things that are starting to fail now, because now there's some of the time when the woman calls the police officer and she gets arrested, right? Now men when they see women in the gym ain't looking at them no more on a hype. Men are starting to actually, I heard apostles go into this, one apostle to her, that men are starting to not want to go to the gym. They're starting, because when they go to the gym, they're seeing that the women are doing too much, man. They're literally damn near in underwear in the gym. They're literally in underwear pretty much, man. Some of the stuff that they're wearing at the gym, you'd expect women to wear at the beach in a hot weather or something, man. Gal's glutes are more covered when they go to bed than when they're in the gym. And then they'll try and post up in a certain location to see who's looking, man. First Ezra chapter 4 and verse 26. Yea, many there be that have run out of their wits for women and become servants for their sakes. And that's part of the women's defense mechanisms. But those usual defense mechanisms are not working. The nightclub was a defense mechanism. That was a place that these women could always go to get a little ego boost. Or shall we get dressed up tonight and go out? Yeah. Let's go dressed. Or let's go to a singles dating event, because there's surely going to be a sucker there that wants to take me out on a date. Let me do a post online about what kind of men I would never date. But now men are getting on there and be like, mate, we don't want you neither. So you wouldn't never date this and date that, but mate, we don't want you either. And this slogan's been going around that I've been hearing, that Mr. 47, DJ TRUMP, right, gave the so-called black woman back to the so-called black man. But guess what? Now we don't want her, man. Stay over there, man. Oh, the Israelite woman's been given back to the Israelite man, but she's tainted now, though. So who cares if she's been given back anyway? Who cares, man? What the hell was she doing when she was over there with him? Doesn't it say in the scriptures that if a woman leaves her husband, that he's not supposed to take her back because she's defiled? Now, Yahweh's going to do that with us as Israelites, but he tells us not to do that, right? And if we're strong in the spirit, we won't do that, man. But sometimes it don't go that way, man. And Yahweh deals with it however he deals with it. But really, a lot of you Israelite women are going to have to go the scenic route before you're in the good books of the Israelite man, because we don't trust you. All this fake humbling that you women are doing right now, right, is due to finances. It's not due to you really just accepting that you're supposed to be righteous towards the men of your nation anyway. It's because your money's low. A lot of you women talking about how you're going to start selling. You're going to start selling this and start selling your Gucci. I'm going to start selling my cat. I'm going to start selling my PUSSY. You've been selling it. Don't try and come slick with it. You already was selling it, man. And the society ain't even fell. You've still got the option to go and get a job. You still got the option to get the money through working. But your first choice is to start selling something. Is to start sleeping around, but you've been doing that anyway. And here's the thing. You women are arrogant because just because you're trying to sell it, yeah, don't mean no one's trying to buy it. And then what's a good price? Oh, you sell it, you sleep with a man for $500 and that pays your rent or whatever, or pays half your rent or quarter. And I have to sleep with 4 men for 500. Okay. So that means that you're only worth 500 then. And after doing that, how many times would you start to be like, man, I'm through? Like after how many times would you be like, ugh? After how many times would it be like, ugh? And then, like as long as anyone's got 500, and that's too high for some of y'all. But as long as anyone's got 500, and then now all of a sudden you're gonna sleep with them, like that's gross. Y'all wouldn't even be able to charge that much, man. To be honest with you. So you're done out here. You're gonna experience, like I'm going into in this lesson, a narcissistic collapse. Now it went into how some of the usual things that women was able to use are no longer gonna work. Well, let's go to this. Isaiah chapter 32 and verse 9, because women used to be able to come with that, oh, I don't need your little funky ass money and your little funky ass this because the government will pay me. But that's not how they used to word it. They used to say they're strong and independent. But if you're really strong and independent, you don't have anyone else helping you. But their strong and independent was, I've got the government helping me invisibly, and I've got all these simps that are helping me invisibly, and you don't know about it, but I'm strong and independent. Because they was having all these secret ways that men didn't know about helping them, right? To where the man was like, man, how this woman got all this stuff going on? I don't understand it. I don't understand what she's got going on to her. She's got such pride, but we understand it now though, through the internet and through these women boasting about all their different deceptions and all their wicked ways, decentering men and all this BS that they talk. They've exposed themselves, man. The wadi how show me I was shy for the internet and this TikTok and this social media, because you would have exposed yourself and you're going to experience a narcissistic collapse. Isaiah chapter 32 and verse 9, rise up, you women that are at ease. Hear my voice, ye careless daughters, give ear unto my speech. Many days and years shall be troubled, ye careless women, for the vintage shall fail, the gathering shall not come. Tremble, ye women that are at ease. Be troubled, ye careless ones, strip you and make you bare, and gird sackcloth upon your loins. They shall lament for the teach, for the present field, for the fruitful vine. The things that you used to be able to get away with and enjoy are being taken away from you, right? Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 16, moreover, Yahweh saith, because the daughters of Zion are haughty, they're proud as hell, they got this high inflated sense of self, this high ego, right? And what would stretch forth next to their chins wagging in the sky, right? And wanton eyes, their eyes are dingling and dangling up in next man's face. They're walking through the city, they're walking through the streets. They've already got a man at home, or they could literally be with a man, and they're thinking, oh, what's this man saying, or what's that man saying, or what's that man saying. I've literally seen one of the elders before was doing a walk and talk video, right? And some next Eve came up, and she was basically flirting with him right in front of her man. She tried to grab the elder's beard and that, and I was thinking to myself, women are demons, man. She literally tried to grab his beard while he was doing a walk and talk video. Like they ain't got no kind of respect at all. That's the wanton eyes. The eyes are, and you can't stop that from happening in this society. Women are the most covetous people on earth. They're the most covetous, man. Most of these women, who are they coveting right now in this world? Most of them are coveting some female celeb. And the main one I would say is probably Kim Kardashian, because she doesn't actually have any talent, yet somehow she's been able to transcend herself into the future by sleeping with somebody. And that's what most women would be like, well, they're thinking, well, I could have got to sleep with Ray J. And Kim Kardashian don't really look like that anyway, because she just got cosmetic surgery. So that's a trajectory that I could copy, because I could sleep with a man that's famous and record it. I could do that. I could look relatively pretty and then get cosmetic surgery done to look better. I could do that. And then that would mean that I could become as famous as she is. That's how they think in their mind, man. That's why she's the most copied person probably among women, among these wicked ones anyway, because she doesn't really have no talent to, you know what I mean, to speak of. Not really. Not really, man. Because being pretty is not a talent, because Yahweh made you be like that. If you're attractive as a woman anyway, you never did nothing to do with it. Let's jump down to verse 17. Therefore, Yahweh will smite with a scab the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion, and Yahweh will discover their secret parts, and he's discovered it through the internet, man. They're baiting out themselves. Through the Kevin Samuel show that used to be going around, through Fresh and Fit podcast, through all these different podcasts, they're baiting out their lack of disrespect, and they're open, not innocent, and it's, oh, we don't know what we're doing. No, they're open and deliberate disrespect that they have for men. So then men are starting to be like, okay, that's how you feel? To hell with you then. Right? To hell with you. We ain't going to no nightclubs. We ain't going to go to the gym. When we see you in the street, we're going to cross over the other side of the road. If you're getting beat up because you was running your mouth in the street to some random man that you knew could have clamped you in the jaw, but for I'm going to run my mouth because there's all these other men around that are my defense mechanism. No, now when you're getting punched up in your mouth by some random man boxed in your mouth, the men are like, I ain't helping you. I'm not getting involved. I'm not about to try and parry this guy's jab and roll underneath his left hook and do a double leg takedown on him and see if I can get a goal for a guillotine. Because I don't care about you or him. To hell with both of y'all. He's a demon and you're a demon too. So let the Lord decide what's happened between you two scumbags. That's how men are thinking now. Right? Men are like, I saw one guy on one video who's saying, oh, when he broke up with his girlfriend, he was initially sad. But then when he looked at his bank account, was like, man, I'm saving £500 a month, not being with her. He was happy. He realized, man, I'm actually saving money from not being with this woman. So, like, I'm actually in a better off position. And that's why you've got this trend that women are saying. They're saying, what are they saying? And they're saying, men save money by being alone, and women save money by being in relationships. So what does that let you know? That when a woman gets in a relationship with a man, she's draining his money. So this single life, ultimately financially anyway, benefits men more, right? Because men don't need nowhere near as much things to make themselves happy. Women have got given, in this society, right? Women have been given more, so much more access to everything in this world than anybody else. They get more access to things than children do. Women get to literally be around billionaires and they could ask the billionaire advice on this and that financial stuff, but all they want to do is sit on a yacht and look pretty and twerk a bit. But they're getting given access to people that are making millions of dollars or pounds a day, but all they do when they get around them is twerk. But if a man ended up around that kind of person, which them, the billionaires of this world are wicked demons anyway, but if a man ended up around somebody like that, they'd be able to be like, ask them actual proper advice so that they could improve their life. But whenever a woman sees a man that's rich, all she's thinking is, how can I sleep with this person to get access to their stuff? Whenever a woman sees a man that's actually got some kind of riches, she's thinking, well, if he thinks I'm attractive enough, then I could have that life. And it's boosting up her ego, when really all that's going to happen is he's going to have that nice car, he's going to have that nice house, he's going to sleep with you 1 or 2 times, you're going to try and ask him for that relationship, he's going to realize you're a demon because you're probably monkey branched from somebody else to him anyway, and he's going to be like, I'm kicking you out to the curb, man. Even the child support thing was a part of these women's defense mechanism, and that's falling now. Now you women are starting to get put on child support, man. You had the famous actor Halle Berry, she's complaining about getting put on child support. You had Britney Spears, she's complaining about getting put on child support. And then you got this female UFC fighter as well, Mackenzie Dern. She was complaining that she got put on there. But here's the thing, if it's wrong when women get put on it, then it's wrong when men get put on it too. But the women can only understand getting put on it because they're a woman. They can't understand nothing from a man's world, man. And that's why they're going to experience a narcissistic collapse, because they thought that this world was supposed to just make them happy and that everyone was just a character in their life. But they're going to find out, no, actually, that's not what it is. And when all hell's breaking loose, they're not going to be able to try and play the victim because everyone's going to be going through the same thing. So nobody ain't going to care about your little insecurities that you've got going on and your little me thing that you've got going on in this world, because they're going to have their own problems to deal with and they ain't going to have a care for your problems. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. It's happening already now. Because when one other person in this world needed help or needed some mercy, they didn't receive help or mercy. So then when now somebody else comes crying about things that have gone on in their life and wants some mercy or some help, they're like, well, when I wanted help and mercy, I never received none. So I don't have the care for you now to receive help and mercy. I don't care about your problems now and what you've got going on. Because when I needed help and I needed something to happen for me and I needed somebody to have mercy on me in life, nobody had mercy on me. So I don't care to have mercy on anybody else now. That's what's happening in this earth. And that's why you women are not able to win as much as you used to. That's why you women are having to stand up on the train while men are sitting down, resting their legs. But you women are arrogantly thinking, why ain't no men getting up to give me a seat? Why should they? In fact, the women should be standing because the men do the more manual jobs. The men are more likely to have did a day of construction work or something like that, or some hard manual labor. You men have liked to have did that. So you should stand up, if anything. Really, how it should have always went is you women should stand up when the man gets on the train, if you ask me. And the proof of that is this scripture, right? In fact, let's go to this verse 24. And it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell, that after all of the things that women use as their defense mechanisms, and it goes into it from verse 18 to verse 23, which is all the little makeup and beautifying pieces of equipment that you women go through, right? And let's read some of them. Verse 19, the chains and the bracelets and the mufflers, the bonnets and the ornaments of the legs and the headbands and the tablets and the earrings, all the beautifying cosmetics, all the different things that you women use to make yourself look like what you don't really look like, right? The rings and the nose jewels. And when you women put this makeup on, you actually believe that that's what you really look like. A lot of you women are so confused and bamboozled by the makeup industry that when you wake up in the morning, fresh faced and look in the mirror, you actually don't believe that's what you really look like. You think what you look like is what way you look like when you've got makeup on. No, that's the fake. The real you is what you look like when you've got makeup on. That's your real face, right? The changeable suits of apparel, all the clothes that you men have. You get all these clothes, some of them cheap, some of them expensive, and you buy them to try and have plenty of different outfits so you can try and be in a different mentality and a different vibe. You will be wearing snake skin kind of clothes, leopard prints and all that, tights, thigh-high boots, mini skirts, crop tops, cleavage, push-up bras, headbands, right? Ankle bracelets, bracelets for the neck, crosses that you put on, and then you got a vest and a push-up bra and make the cross fall right between your chesticles, right? You women have got a whole bunch of tricks of the trade that you use to try and make yourself look like some type of way. But all of that's going to be taken away. As the society starts to get more and more broke, right? That's a luxury for you women. And eventually it's going to get to the point where you start having to decide whether you want to buy makeup or whether you want to buy food. Now, you can take the risk. If I buy makeup, I'll be able to look hot. And then some simp might be able to buy me the food anyway. But that might not work. So then you're going to be like, well, I'm going to have to buy the food and then just look like what I really look like. And in that kind of thing is where the narcissistic collapse that you women are going to experience is going to happen. This is going to happen to you. And this is just the earthly term that can get the point across of what you women are going to experience so that you can understand it from an earthly perspective. Because it is going to be an earthly event. But the reason why it's going to be happening is because of the spiritual world. Verse 23, and it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell, there shall be stink. And instead of a girdle, a rent. And instead of well-set hair, boldness. Now, this has already happened to the majority of you Southern Kingdom women. But it's going to happen again because the weave that's made you not look bold now, that's going to be taken away in the future. And you're going to be humbled. You're going to experience the narcissistic collapse. It's going to happen to you. And instead of a stomacher, a girdle of sackcloth and burning instead of beauty. Because you women, a lot of women, right, have not even ever came out in the last, since they became maybe 16 to their 40s, to their 30s, whatever age they are now. From the moment they became 16 and started wearing makeup, a lot of women have never came outside ever again showing their true face. They've literally always had makeup on when they come outside from the moment they first started putting makeup on. Go past a nail salon or any nail shop, you're going to see women in there. You'll see Edomite women in there. You'll see Israelite women in there. You'll see women in there. And they're getting them beautified up. They're putting these nails on, doing this makeup stuff. They're in a hair salon. Right? You're seeing women that just work in retail with lip fillers. But that used to be something for the rich. You'll literally hear women, I've heard them, just talking about how they got lip fillers, and then you're like, mate, this is just a normal, regular job that this person's doing, but they somehow got money to get lip fillers. Like, it's ridiculous. You got women that are just doing regular careers, regular jobs that are getting a BBL. And you're like, mate, couldn't you have just went gym and hit the squats? You're getting random women getting liposuctions, women getting gastric bands and all this to try and lose weight, and getting a stomach clamped and all this kind of stuff. Just regular, everyday people, man. Instead of a stomacher, man, all that stuff's gonna fail. And burning instead of beauty, their real faces are gonna be shown. A lot of people. I remember back in the world, I had this one friend, and he told me that his girlfriend used to wake up, man, and put makeup on before he woke up in the morning. Now, how bugged out's that? He literally never saw what her real face looked like for like a good 6 months till they'd been together. She'd literally be asleep, rush and wake up before he wakes up, and put makeup on. You know how bugged out that is to do. But that's women though. They're bugged out. And they've got a high inflated sense of self because from the moment they got 1-2 chest, 1-2 breast, 1-2 glutes, yeah, got a little bit pretty in their face. They've been having male attention and the world's been treating them like there's something special since then. But the world's been treating them like there's something special, especially among the men, so that in the hope that they can get a chance to sleep with them. It's not because they're actually important. They was like, let me try and see if I can get this woman in the bedroom. Not because she's actually, but it's like, she looks good enough for what I want to use her for. Not because she's actually interesting, but they can't separate the two. And that's why they all think that they deserve this superior man of this world that's got all this money and all this stuff, because he'll sleep with a woman that's significantly less than him in the world. He'll do it. He'll do it, man. Could be like, man, maybe she'll do something that I wanted to try and do that next woman wouldn't try and do. And in the moment that woman now sleeps with this guy, she thinks in her mind that that's the kind of man that she can always be with now, because he spent maybe an hour with her. And that's why, historically speaking, in a righteous society, the father is supposed to pick the child, the husband for the daughter. The father's supposed to pick, because the man can see through the BS. Women can't see. There's a whole bunch of men that have got women pregnant because they had braids, or because they had a ponytail, or because they had a tattooed arm sleeve, or because they could do a backflip, or because they could dance good, or because they've memorized one freestyle 16 bar and spat that 16 bar in a little cipher one time, and the woman's like, ooh, he's going to be a rapper. But he wasn't going to be a rapper. He just memorized one 16 bar, 132 bar, and that's it. That's all he got. He's a 1 bar pony. And she just thought he was going to be a star and this and that. She liked how he looked in a basketball jersey. There's plenty of people that have children that have literally been born because of that. Plenty of women that conceived babies in an alleyway somewhere, or slept with a guy because he had a nice car, or a rental even. These women don't know what's going on when it comes to picking them, and they don't know. And that's why they all go for the same guy, because they're like, well, another woman liked him, so that's obviously a man that's I can like them. They don't know how to pick a man for their own self. And that's why they like men more when a man's got a woman. That's why some men in this world pretend to have an engagement ring to try and get women, because they know and understand that women are wicked, and they like the idea of stealing a woman from stealing a man from another woman. Right? Verse 25, thy men shall fall by the sword, because a lot of the men that help you, women, and inflate your ego, they're going to pass away. They're going to perish, man, through being unalived in war. And I'm mighty in the war. The mighty men, like I seen one video where one of these women said that she's going to start robbing from the store, and that she's going to have one of her cousins with her, that if you try and stop her, you're gonna think that a freight train hit you or whatever word it was that she used, man. I was thinking to myself, yeah, well, that guy's gonna perish. And then you ain't gonna have that guy that you can try and call up and lie and say, oh, this man hit me, or this man this did that, and that or this. You ain't gonna have those men available to try and use to enforce your wicked ass will. And in that, you're gonna experience, which is what this lesson's about. You're gonna experience that narcissistic collapse that I've been talking about in this lesson, man. You're going to experience that, all you women. And the thing that made me think about that is the scripture that I'm getting ready to read. Thy men shall fall by the sword, and they might in the war. Here's the point. And her gate shall lament and mourn, and she being desolate shall sit upon the ground. Right? Now, in that time, when these women are desolate sitting on the ground, there's going to be two choices to make. Humble themselves and seek a man of the Lord, or not humble themselves and be trodden down as the mire of the streets. And that decision, unfortunately for you women, is not your decision to make, because even you might humble yourself, but you might still be rejected by that man of the Lord anyway. Or some of you might be even rejected by a man that ain't of the Lord. He might still not want you. The top man that a woman's going to be able to try and get in that time is going to be a man that Yahweh Shem Yahushai has predetermined to salvation. But there's going to be other men that are going to be looking like they might win during that time as well. Men that are physically strong, some of them. Men that have got a little hideout here and there, might have a few rations that they've been prepping for. But they're going to eventually end up losing. Right? Isaiah chapter 4 and verse 1, and in that day some women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel, only let us be called by thy name, to take away our reproach. And that's what you women are going to experience, man. You're going to be forced into a situation where you have to look at yourself in the mirror, because for so long, you've been able to try and blame everything else around you. Blame men. Oh, the reason why this happened is because Jamal said this. The reason why this happened is because Tennille said that. Jaquil, Mantil, Bandil, Jerome, Tyrone, Barrett, flipping Malachi, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. They're all to blame. It's not me. They're all narcissists. All men are dogs. All men. No, you're wicked yourself. Micah chapter 7 and verse 10. Then she that is my enemy shall see. What's she going to see? She's going to see herself sitting down desolate. And she's going to see the men that she thought was so bad changed up and put in a higher ranking in this society just before they actually go through their full change and perfection of becoming under the new covenant and be given that new body. My enemy, then she that is my enemy shall see, and shame shall cover her, which said unto me, where is Yahweh thy power? Mine eyes shall behold her. Now shall she be trodden down as the mire of the street. So there's going to be two different types of women in that time. Now let me go back to the thing on the narcissistic collapse. 1 second. All right, so I'm back on this now. Now let's go back to this reading this, man. It says, this happens when their usual defense mechanisms, which I went into just a minute ago, makeup, all the different men, all the different government programs, these things don't work anymore. They've been taken away. This happens when their usual defense mechanisms, which protect them from feelings of shame and worthlessness, fail, leading to an intense and sometimes prolonged emotional breakdown. The person with NPD, narcissistic personality disorder, if you're remembering, can become depressed, withdrawn, or erupt in vindictive anger. And that's what some of you men are going to try. You've already started trying to, I'm going to start selling my Gucci. I'm going to start selling my thing. And if y'all even think about trying to say something to me, I'm finna have my cousin and my nephew mess y'all up. I'm finna start selling like it's going out of style. Who cares, man? That's that vindictive anger, right? That's that vindictive anger, but it's not going to work, because all that's going to happen, all right, you're going to go to the shop and steal. Someone's going to call the police. Your ass going to jail. Simple as that. Simple as that. That's what's going to be happening. And you'll be getting fed in jail or whatever. And it's even sickening. Like, when I watch a lot of these body cam arrests, right? And these women, some of the time, they be twerking on the police officer, trying to flirt with him, right? Trying to offer him the box. And you're thinking to myself, man, how many times have they done this? Like, how many times? Okay, it's not working this time, but how many times has it worked though? And then the fine might have only been about £70, like $100 fine for DUI or something like that. You're thinking, raw, you finna sleep with the officer because of that? Like, it is just disgusting, man. Causes and triggers. The fragile ego of a narcissist relies on a narcissistic supply of constant validation and admiration from others. So to apply it to the things I've been saying in this video, the simps, that's part of the narcissistic supply. Esau's government structure, that's a part of Esau's narcissistic supply. The sisterhood, that's a part of the narcissistic supply. Makeup, that's been a part of the narcissistic supply, right? All these different little trinkets and things that women have, their social media following, all the people that like their pictures online, that's a part of it. But slowly, that's, to put it into a biblical term, the narcissistic supply are the teats that the women are going to be lamenting for. They're going to be lamenting for that narcissistic supply. They're going to be lamenting for the teats, for the fruitful vine. So if you apply the narcissistic supply to the biblical term of the women that are going to be lamenting for the teats or for the fruitful vine, then that will help you understand this situation more spiritually, right? The causes and triggers. The fragile ego of a narcissist relies on a narcissistic supply of constant validation and admiration from others. When this supply is disrupted or their self-perception is challenged, a collapse can be triggered. Triggers for a narcissistic collapse can include public failure or humiliation, or you may not are starting to lose out on your little trinkets of this world. You may not are starting to get arrested and it goes up on a body cam and then it gets put on YouTube and then we can all see it. You may not are starting to get baited up all on the internet and are starting to get hemmed up and arrested. You may not try and go on podcasts and think you're smart and then you get shown that you're a stupid idiot. These are all part of the public failures or humiliations that you women are experiencing, man. All you men that was bugging out when the election was happening, like roughly about a year ago now. It was about a year ago when all these women were bugging out, trying to say that they're not going to sleep with men. They're not going to sleep with men if they vote for Mr. 47. But here's the thing. Now they're saying they're going to start selling it. So which one is it? Before they wasn't going to give men any for who they voted for. Now they're talking about they're going to sell it because they ain't got money for this and for that. So which one is it then? Which one is it, man? And these women actually would really be scared to truly not want to sleep with men or put the idea out that they might sleep with men, because then they'd realize that men actually don't have no reason now to talk to them. If a woman doesn't want to sleep with a man, right, who care? He don't have no need to care about anything she's got to say. The only women in a man's life that can get away with that are maybe a man's mom, and then more so likely his daughter, because a man's not supposed to. The scriptures is clear on that. A man's not supposed to sleep with none of those two. Now this world's so wicked that happens in this society, right? And those people that do such things, the scriptures explains clearly what's supposed to happen to those kind of people. But I'm using the point of the only people that a man would care about in this world, in a normal society even, that he does not have that feeling towards, would be his mother and his daughter, right? His mother, his daughter, and then every other woman, he doesn't have as much of a care for them. Now, obviously your aunt and stuff like that, you're not supposed to deal with in that way with them neither, your grandmother and all these things. But I'm pointing out, like, as far as women that are just on a regular occurrence that a man would see, if a man goes, like, and this is why men don't really care about what a woman that they find ugly has got to say. They don't care. And their confidence is increased around women that they think are unattractive, but their confidence might be decreased amongst women that they think are attractive. But Yahweh's setting it up so much amongst men now that they're starting to have even increased confidence and lack of care and become cold-hearted towards women that they even do think are attractive, because they're realizing that these women are wicked and that it's not worth, the juice ain't worth the squeeze, as the saying goes. Right? Now let's carry on reading this. It says, when this supply is disrupted or their self-perception is challenged, a collapse can be triggered. Okay, so I've read that bit already. It says rejection or abandonment, the end of a relationship or a partner setting firm boundaries can feel like a deep rejection. Now, these women are starting to receive that because they're starting to say, oh, men are sassy, men have got standards, men ain't cold approaching no more, men ain't giving us this attention, men ain't doing that. Men think they're the prize, but all it's the men doing is setting boundaries, right? All men are doing in this world are setting boundaries. You think you deserve things as a woman. Okay, these men as men think that they deserve things. So now they're going to ask a woman, what do you bring to the table? And women get mad at that particular wording of it. But all that's really being said is, what do you bring to a relationship? And what's one of the main responses that women give when men ask them, what do you bring to the table? They'll say, I am the table, which would, if you apply it to what I just said a minute ago, they're basically saying then, I am the relationship, but no, you're not, because a relationship's got two people in there. And that's why these women can't win. That's why they're bugging out, man. And really, men are supposed to have multiple women, because these women are so unstable and bugged out, right? That he's supposed to be able to have a multitude of them. Now, in this society, due to men having lack of funds and certain other things, and we're waiting for the kingdom right now, that's not the best option and the best approach to do. And yet still, it's not unlawful though. And some people try and make out like it is, because that's a way that women have been able to have that extra narcissistic supply, or like I was saying, according to the spiritual way of understanding it, the fruitful vine and the teats, the lamenting for the teats and the fruitful vine that they was desiring. But these things are being taken away now, right? I heard one of the elders say that now men are just like, man, forget to hell with these women. Basically, he said something along those lines. They're just in the gym now doing curls and building themselves up, and that's what's happening, man. That's what's happening. Men are just like, man, you know what? Forget this. This ain't worth it. There's Karen reading. It says, criticism, even minor or constructive feedback, can be perceived as an attack on their entire being. And that's why these women didn't like Kevin Samuels. That's why these women go on these podcasts and get in these debates with these guys and crash out when they knew what was going to be spoken about, and they went there and they crash out. I remember one woman started bugging out on one of these podcasts because she called somebody a misogynist, and he said, okay, what does a misogynist mean? And she just started breaking down and crying. I was thinking, this woman's a demon. And she had a septum ring, I think, in her nose as well. Some blonde Edomite woman, man. I was thinking, man, this woman's bugged out. She's crying because he asked her to define a word that she used, and she started crying and saying, can I leave? I was just thinking, what the hell is wrong with this woman? But they can't handle the criticism, but they're quick to call men this or men that. And this is all going to lead to the narcissistic collapse that these women are going to experience, man. They're going to fall bad. A lot of these women are starting to realize that their online avatar don't match what happens in the real world. So online, they got 10,000 followers. If they put a picture on, they're getting bare likes. But that's in one fixed angle where your hand's on your hip and the sun's shining on your face from a specific angle. You got the sea behind you and you're in a bikini. But when you go out in real life, even when you actually took that real picture that you took in that picture, from the angle from all the 360 degrees of that picture, right? You didn't look like that from every angle, because the people that was actually there when you took the picture, they saw that when they looked at you from behind, the thing ain't as round as you think. Some of the people that was closer in front of you, they saw your face and you had pimples on there. They saw that your face, okay, on the picture it looks like your skin's clear, but in real life when they saw you, that makeup looked matted. It looked like clown paint. So you men are starting to lose that status, man. People are like, man, nah, I thought, like, some of you men are baiting yourselves out through just running your mouth. You'll look good, and then the moment you open your mouth, people see the fire come out of there, and like, man, this woman's a demon. You're losing that status of women being good and righteous. You're no longer being called tender and delicate, right? Your it's what he says, loss of status, losing a position of power or social influence. You women ain't able to influence things as much no more. You ain't able to just go to the nightclub and just, men are starting to push their way through to the stage, and I don't go to no nightclubs and nothing like that no more, right? I didn't went to a nightclub for probably like a decade plus. Well, definitely like a decade plus, man. I ain't been to nowhere like that. But when I see things, what people are saying online, the nightclub thing ain't hitting no more. So now women are having to try and find other ways to beg her to get attention. So they start going to the gym, setting up that stupid camera to try and catch men looking at them, right? As if they ain't looking at men in the gym themselves when they're in there. And then it's obviously not blatantly obvious that men are looking at you when you're in the gym because you're having to set up a camera to catch them looking at you. You're having to literally set up a camera that's record when you could record just yourself from some of the shots that you're doing, but you're making sure to record a wide shot of the whole gym, taking up bare space, putting up a whole tripod in the gym to so-called catch men looking at you. You men are starting to lose, man. You're starting to really face the music, man. That great humbling, that narcissistic collapse is happening to you. It says external events, a natural disaster or significant financial loss can shatter their sense of control. Now, what's a financial loss that these women potentially are going to experience right now? Them government programs being taken away. And these are things that are going to lead to that narcissistic collapse. Like, I saw one video of a woman saying that it's the US taxpayers' responsibility to take care of me. And I'm thinking to myself, how arrogant can you be to say something like that? They're literally trying to treat the government now and the US taxpayer like it's their, using the same phrases that they'd use to the baby's father. Because they're just arrogant, man. But let's carry on reading some of it because this is good, man. When I came across this, I was like, man, I got to do a video on this. I think this is a good video anyway, a good topic anyway. I think so. So I decided to do the lesson. It says symptoms and signs. The outward signs of a collapse depend on the individual's narcissistic subtype, overt or covert, which overt is open and covert is unopen. It's like secretive. And that's what most women do, right? They try and do things and try and make it like they're not doing it, man. But can range from explosive rage to silent withdrawal. Now, what we're seeing with a lot of these bugged out women doing though is they're doing both, right? Common behavioral symptoms include rage and aggression, which that's what they're doing on these Twitter posts that they're doing and these like TikToks that they're making and all that, spazzing out about this, spazzing out in public. What you mean, my food stamps, and spazzing out, crashing out in the reception area, right? Rage and aggression, explosive anger, yelling, blame shifting. Oh, well, if the men would have been doing this, I wouldn't have been doing this. If the men wouldn't have been blaming the government, blaming this, blaming that, blaming the taxpayer, blaming everyone else. Blame shifting and vindictive acts against those who they perceive as the cause of their pain. And at the same time as these women are doing this, now I'm thinking even at the higher level, Esau's doing this. And when Mr. CK crashed and fell and got necked off, right? These Edomites started spazzing out about that. But as you're noticing right now, that's faded into the background. No one don't really care about that no more. That's faded away. That's gone. Right? He was not of really much importance, man. He's gone. That memory of that guy is faded off, man. It says withdrawal and isolation, retreating from their social contact to avoid further injury to their ego. Now, these women have not started yet doing that, but it's going to happen though, right? Because as they start to realize they can't put the makeup on as much, they're going to have to start downsizing in life. They're going to have to start downsizing what they spend their money on. They're going to be able to just splurge out and show out like they used to, man. There's going to be a whole lot less pictures of cafe lattes and pictures of steak and chips in restaurants. There's going to be a whole lot of them, less of them posting in front of the logo of these 5-star or these gourmet restaurants in the city that they ain't paying for the meal, by the way. There's going to be a whole lot less of that, right? Increased manipulation, intensifying gaslighting or victimhood to regain control and attention. And part of the intense increase in manipulation is going to come through these women trying to pretend like they're prepared to humble themselves to men. Oh, come on, Mr. 50-50. Come on, I'm prepared. Oh, you like when you're hearing some of these women saying, you women, y'all need to bow down to these men and start acting right. I'm looking at the woman that's saying it herself, and I'm thinking to myself, you're a demon though. You don't even sound sincere. You sound like you're trying to set up a trap your own self. You're trying to do it your own self, man. Right? Impulsive and reckless behavior, engaging in self-destructive acts like substance abuse, excessive spending, or gambling. A lot of these women are going to start going in on their credit cards and all this. They're going to start overdoing it on Klarna. They're going to start gambling, right? They're going to start selling that thing, reckless behavior, and then they might feel guilty afterwards, keep the money, and try and accuse men of raping them. Because that's what these women are like, man. Smear campaign, spreading lies and negative rumors about others to damage their reputation. These women have started trying to talk and project all the things that they do onto men from all these TikToks. They've started doing that, right? They're starting to try and make out like men are doing all these different psychological warfare on them, when all the men are doing is not giving a two bleeps about anything that you women have got to say anymore. That's all they're really doing. Dramatic mood swings, shifting rapidly between anger, despair, and self-pity. And that's what these men are good at doing, man. They'll be crying 1 minute, right? Then they'll start spazzing out. Then they'll start crying again. Then they'll start playing the victim. That's what you Israelite women specifically are good at doing, man. All the tribes and all the scattered ones too, the ones that look like heathens as well, they're good at doing that as well, man. And like I said at the beginning of this video, you're going to experience narcissistic collapse, right? You women are going to experience that. It says internal psychological symptoms, extreme anxiety, a paralyzing fear of exposure and inadequacy, and that's what you women are going to experience, man. And she being desolate shall sit upon the ground. You're going to experience that intense shame, feelings of worthlessness and humiliation that are too painful to face. You women, when this society falls, you're going to remember all the times that you was being a hoe. You're going to remember that time when you let Jerome, Tyrone, Malone, and Devontae, Daquan all have a go at the same time in the same room, while you said to your man or said to some other guy that wanted to take you out and wanted to love you, I'm busy at the moment, I can't make it. And you're going to remember when you was getting absolutely splammed off in some dark room somewhere, man, with 5 men sweating all up on you. And I have to speak it real, because that's what some of you women are doing out here in this world, man. That's some of the things that you women are doing. You can remember all the times you went to Dubai and made a filthy Ishmaelite Nutella on your head and used your hair as toilet roll. You can remember all the times you did these dark deeds, man. You remember all the times you was just freaking off in a nightclub. You're going to remember all the men that treated you right, that you screwed over. And you're going to have to face the shame of what you did. You're going to remember when some of you women had a female friend, right, and slept with him. To try but then at the same time complained about male adultery, but you tried to make a man do what you think adultery is, but that's not actually adultery. And really, if you women wanted to both be with a guy, you could have, but you women didn't do it because you realized that the law says that a man can have 2 wives. No, you slept with that man to try and take him away from your female friend, didn't you? You damn demon. You men are going to remember all the times you went through your man's phone. You remember all the time that you accused your man of this and that, when you gave him a hard time. You're going to be made to face how wicked you've been, man. You're going to experience a narcissistic collapse. All you Israelite women, all you wicked ones, man. You're going to experience that. Depression and emptiness, a profound sense of despair and hopelessness. And that's why these are the details of what these women are going to experience in Isaiah 3:26. And she being desolate shall sit upon the ground. This is the reason why you women are going to be sitting upon the ground, because you're going to realize this is what you've been doing. And that's why the scriptures say, and she that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth, because while you've been living in pleasure, you've been doing all of these wicked things that when you actually end up having to face what you've did in the day of the Lord, it's going to make you sit on the ground, desolate, and you're going to experience extreme anxiety, intense shame, depression and emptiness, fragmented identity, and paranoia. The paranoia is going to be, man, I've did all this wickedness. I deserve to get judged for this. And some of you are going to know that judgment's coming, but you're not going to know from where. Because what's the day of the Lord explained like? As if a man did flee from a lion and a bear, no, as if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him, and then he leaned his hand on a wall and a serpent bit him. A lot of you men are going to escape 1 or 2 things, but you're going to just become paranoid like, man, I can't really be at peace because I know that I deserve judgment for this. And that's going to cause for you to start crying and breaking down, but no one ain't going to care about the tears because everyone's going to have something going on in that time. Everyone's going to have stress that they need to deal with. So they ain't going to have too much availability to care about your emotions, what you've got going on. They're going to have too much going on their own self, man. They ain't going to have the time available to be caring about what you've got going on with you. They're going to have too much going on with themselves. You understand? Right? It says fragmented identity. The loss of their false self can lead them feeling disoriented and hollow inside. And this is what's going to lead to you women. And this is what I said, this was a good video, man. Like, this is heavy details in what's going to make these women experience what's mentioned in Isaiah 3, verse 26, man, for the second time over. Because they've already experienced this thing before. And maybe not even, shouldn't even say the second time over, because they've experienced it several times. But the truest time where they're going to experience it is in a dark and dreadful day of our Lord Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai. Right? And this is a thus saith the Lord situation, man. This is definitely going to happen to you women. You women are going to experience narcissistic collapse, which is ultimately the judgment of the Lord. You're going to experience Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 16 to verse 24. You're going to experience Isaiah chapter 4, verse 1. You're going to experience Micah chapter 7 and verse 10. You're going to experience Isaiah 32 and verse 8 to verse 12. You're going to experience these things. You're going to experience what it says in the book of Ezra, the second chapter, second Ezra, the 16th chapter, where it goes into how the women are going to mourn having no husbands. The women are going to mourn having no bridegrooms. The daughters shall mourn having no helpers. You're going to mourn that there ain't no men available, or where the real men at, or where the good men at, or where's the chivalrous men anymore. You're going to be longing for all those men, forgetting that you met plenty of those men in your life anyway and screwed them all over. Some of you women are going to be say, oh, where's the men of the Lord at? But some of you women are going to forget that you had a man of the Lord before you even knew he was an Israelite in some cases. Then some of you women got these men when they did know that there was about the scriptures, and you still pissed it down the drain. So you had a better chance than most women. And some of the women that didn't have a chance early on are going to get a chance later, and you're not going to get a chance, man. You're going to be cast out to dry. Just wait. It's going to happen. Paranoia, believing that others are plotting against them or out to get them. And this is going to happen, man. When all hell breaks loose, you're really going to experience that. You're going to be paranoid because you're going to realize, you're going to look back, like it said, intense shame, feelings of worthlessness, profound sense of despair and all of that, right? You're going to look back on your life, remember all the wickedness that you did and be like, man, someone's definitely going to judge me for this. And as I'm saying this, these are things that Esau's also going to experience, man, which is going to cause him to rage out. Like it says in Revelation 12 and 12, therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe unto you inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil has come down to you having great wrath, because these women are narcissists, right? And they're going to experience narcissistic collapse. But Esau is the main narcissist, and he's going to experience narcissistic collapse greater than anybody else. He's going to experience it even worse than the women, because these Edomites are so proud, especially the men, that they think that they're finna climb into the heavens. They think that they're going to rule over the children of Israel like how Yahweh rules over the children of Israel, man. So we can talk about the women. I can mention the women and say, oh, the women are doing this and the women are doing that, right? But no one's more wicked than you Edomites, man, because the women being as wicked as they are is down to how wicked you Edomite men have been, man, and how wicked you Edomites have been down here on this earth. You're responsible for how wicked they've been because you're supposed to be the leader of this society. And you've allowed the women to gain this inflated sense of ego that's not really based on nothing, man. These women have got cryptocurrency egos, man. It ain't backed by nothing. The ego's not backed by anything, man. Whereas our, if you can call it ego, or our boldness, I'd rather say, is backed on our faith in Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. It's based on the patience and the faith of the saints, which is, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. That's the reason why we're bold. And when it's all said and done, for when men will not believe that thou art full of power, who's the thou? Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. For men will not believe that Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai is full of power. He shows his strength, and among them that know it, he makes their boldness manifest. It's going to be established why the men that was saying all these things about women and saying all these things about the society, it's going to be established. The day is going to come where it's going to be shown why they were talking like that. And people are like, oh, now I see why you was talking like that. I thought you was talking too big for your boots, but now I actually see and understand why you was bold like that. Oh, I understand it. Oh, I get it now. You wasn't just fronting. You had a reason to be talking like that. And then men are going to be like, yeah, we did have a reason. Here he is, the mighty one, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, Yahushai. Right? You're going to experience Esau. You're going to experience a narcissistic collapse. You women out there of the children of Israel, you're going to experience a narcissistic collapse as well. And then any other people that are going to catch strays in that time, they're going to experience a narcissistic collapse too. Even among the Israelites that are proud of, among the men that don't believe in Yahweh Shem Shai, their ego is going to be collapsed in whatever realm it is that they're getting their boldness from, man. And that's why the scriptures say, don't glory in your might, your riches. Glory that you understand the Lord. Let's carry on reading this last bit here. It says, narcissistic injury versus narcissistic collapse. A narcissistic injury is a painful blow to the ego, but the individual is able to recover and continue functioning. And this is what Esau is going through, right? This might trigger an intense but often brief burst of rage or retaliatory behavior as they reassert dominance and control. That's what happened with that little CK situation. They bugged out for a bit. They was trying, you think you can take out CK? They did a little bug out, right? But now they're back on their square, trying to act normal again, trying to make it like they never really did that. They're back on their thing now again. Their egos boosted up a little bit, right? A narcissistic collapse is a more severe and prolonged consequence of repeated major injuries, and Esau is going to experience these injuries, man. He's going to start to realize that he can't win the war that he's got going on with China and Russia. And the Russians are Esau themselves. But they're going to start to realize that this game that they tried to play is too big. And it's just going to be all losers. And the only people that are going to rise up out of this situation are the children of Israel. And World War III, I've got to say this for this video, World War III brings the return of Yahushai. The moment those ICBMs are shot off at America to completely destroy it, is when Yahushai is going to come and gather the elect to the nation of Israel from America, which is Babylon the Great, right? And other places in the world, because ICBM shot off at America to completely destroy it is going to trigger for America to use theirs to destroy everyone that's tried to destroy them. Because they're only going to have a few minutes to do it, man. It says, a narcissistic collapse is a more severe and prolonged consequence of repeated or major injuries. A narcissist can no longer maintain their grandiose facade, leading to a complete unraveling and inability to function normally. And that's what these women are going to experience, man. But Esau is going to also experience this as well. Is there no more wisdom in Teman? Even the mighty men are confounded. They're going to experience this, man. Read the prophecy of Obadiah. You women are going to experience this, and you Edomites are going to experience this, man. Right? And all this how to deal with during the collapse. Well, let's go to this. It says, when you are confronted with a narcissist in a state of collapse, protect your own emotional and physical safety. Protecting your own emotional and physical safety is the priority. Protect yourself, set firm boundaries, and understand their collapse is not your fault, even if they blame you for it. That's what happened with that CK situation. You think you can take out Charlie Kirk? We had nothing to do with it. Leave us alone. Don't ask us what we think about what's going on with October this and October that. Don't ask me my opinion. I don't care. I don't know. I'm not qualified to say anything. Just like I wasn't qualified to talk about the C-119. We ain't qualified to talk about that. If these women start trying to holler at you, oh, how's it going? Oh, it's crazy what's going on in the world right now, isn't it? They're really trying to beg some money, man. And if you're a person that you think where you want to give them some, that's up to you. Then I can't tell you what to do with your money. But I'd say save your own money for yourself, man. That's what I'd say. Right? Because if the roles were reversed and they had the chance to give you some money, would they do it? And the scriptures say, help the godly man and not a sinner. And that goes for the woman too. Help a righteous person, man, not a sinner. There's nothing wrong with being generous with your finances for people that are not wicked, right? But there is a problem. Like that money that you might give to one of these wicked ass women, you could have sent as a tithe. or as an arms to somebody in the truth, man. They might end up needing that same one that you gave that other person, and they believe in Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. So it would be better to store it away in the potential scenario that you could help a fellow Israelite out that believes, man. But maybe I ain't qualified to speak on that, man. And the Spirit's going to do what it does anyway. But I don't think that many men that are Hebrew Israelites are going to be going out of their way to help some of these wicked women, man. We're going to hope that Yahweh Hashem Yahushai makes our heart cold towards them, because they've been extremely proud down here. Extremely. Right? Let's carry on. It says, disengage or go no contact. So stay away from these Edomites, man, and from these wicked ass women. Focus on the spiritual things that we need to fix up in our own self, man. Right? And some of the things, like, I'm not going to even try and twist and apply towards what we believe as Israelites, man. But I just wanted to do this video. I thought it would be a good topic to go into, man, because these women are going to experience this, man. This is prophecy. Narcissistic collapse is the earthly term, but Isaiah 3:24 to verse 26, Isaiah 3:16 to verse 24, verse 26, verse 24 rather, right, is the actual prophecy. Isaiah 32:8 verse 9 is the actual prophecy as well, right? Isaiah 4:1, Micah 7:10, that's the prophecy. But the earthly explanation is a narcissistic collapse, right? And I'm going to end the video there. All praises to Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushai, Ba'Hashem Rakah Kwadash, and double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to all the elect, the believers, the men, the women, and the children. Shalom.